Hello and welcome to the Frank Friar channel. I'm the Frank Friar, aka Father Nicholas, and if you like today's video, please make sure to give the channel a subscribe. It really does help my ministry grow. Today, the first video, 2018, I have a special guest, Father Raul Maravi. He's a native Peruvian, and he is one of the general counselors for the Carmelite order. He oversees the Carmelite communities in the provinces in both North America, Central America, and South America. And he also does a lot of work on behalf of the order in the Holy Land, overseeing the safety and security of our Carmelite foundation and ruins there. So in today's video, I asked him to talk a little bit about his experience of Carmelite spirituality while walking amongst the ruins in the Holy Land. So at the end of the video today, please know that there will be some footage of him actually walking through those ruins. So make sure to watch the whole video so you don't miss out on the footage from Israel. Take care. Know that I'm with you. I hope you like today's video, and may God bless you.
Hello, this is Father Raul Maravi, a Carmelite, Counselor General for the Carmelites, and I am here stopping in New York for a couple of days on my way to South America. Welcome to the Frank Friar channel. I have been asked to talk a little bit about my experience visiting the ruins of the first Carmelite church and monastery in the Holy Land. When you think of religious groups, most of them will always refer to a founder. You think of the Franciscans, St. Francis of Assisi, or the Jesuits, St. Ignatius of Loyola, or the Dominicans, and so on. In the case of us Carmelites, we don't really have a founder. We usually relate to a place, and that place is Mount Carmel, which is actually a range, a group of hills and mountains in the north of Israel in the Holy Land. There we find the ruins of the first chapel and monastery of the Carmelites. How did we get there? Well, a group of men, crusaders, were in the Holy Land, and some of them quit the war. Others, after the war, decided to stay in that holy place, and they stayed and established some sort of a community in the north of Israel, in Mount Carmel. And the first thing they did was to dedicate the place to Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And they also discovered through the scriptures that they established in the place where a very important figure of the Old Testament lived as well, the prophet Elijah. So us as Carmelites are very much related, and we base our spirituality in those both important persons of the history of salvation, the prophet Elijah and Our Lady of Mount Carmel. I am blessed to say that I have visited several times the Holy Land, and especially the ruins of the first Carmelite monastery. And even though it is just some stones that kind of comprise a chapel and other small areas of what used to be our monastery there, it is always a very deep experience of spirituality, of faith, that in many ways strengthen my vocation. Because I do not see just stones upon stones. I see the roots of my own vocation, of my own call as a Carmelite. And I also discover that in some way, even though we do not live there anymore, we are also those stones, those living stones working in so many places in the world, trying to share our experience of God and moreover the richness of our Carmelite spirituality that, as you may know, is based on prayer, community, and service among the people of God. Praying in this place is of course something very special, because you realize that those guys who established first in the Holy Land had many limitations. They were persecuted, they were misunderstood, but they kept their faith, they kept their hope, and they stayed together. The ruins that we see in the Holy Land are an expression of a group of men who believed against hope, who tried to do their best to discover God's presence in their lives, in a land that was not theirs, because I'm sure all of them or most of them were Europeans, but they decided to stay there because they were called to do so. And whenever we discover our own vocation, it doesn't matter where we are, what we're gonna do, or with whom we're gonna live or share this experience. We just try to do our best to be positive and to say yes to God's call. One thing that really strikes me of the ruins of the first Carmelite monastery is the location. The location of these ruins is in the Wadi Esia. A wadi is like a small, narrow canyon, you know, and there they established in this wadi. So every day they were used to get up in the midst of some hills to face the Mediterranean Sea and the breeze of the sea and the mountains. They lived in caves, not necessarily in a building that we would know nowadays. There are still some caves there, caves where they lived, caves that they used not only to sleep, but moreover to pray alone and to meditate on the Word of God and discover God's will in prayer and in the Scriptures. The place, as I mentioned, was dedicated to Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and we still have that cave that used to be that special chapel that was dedicated to her before the chapel itself was built with stones. These ruins are really meaningful to us